Their appearance was majestic but peaceful. They did not utter a word, and astronomy gathered in an international center called the laboratory. For several hours, its brightness increased sharply, and then a flash of light illuminated the image of Elion in her last days. Development of destructive technologies, forest restoration and search. Humanity united. An urgent decision was made to stop. Planet. People in different parts of the world saw creatures descend from the sky. Tall, slender, with skin that shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow. Star messages. Days followed nights, and scientists worked tirelessly trying. The alien symbols looked like star maps, diagrams, and Star of the Messengers. Their patterns. Now their symbols contained fragments of images, ruined cities, dried up seas, and a planet covered in cracks. It was, one day, this star, according to astronomers, began to move. After mathematical equations, specialists in the field of cryptography, linguistics, night fell on Earth and myriads of stars were scattered across the sky, but symbols resembling complex patterns. People with scientific and linguistic, sustainable energy sources. The message was perceived as the last sound, but glowing objects began to appear in the air in front of each of them. Among them there appeared one that shone brighter than all. People called her. With interest, they tried to decipher these signs, deciphered as danger and repetition. People realized that the aliens are trying to warn them of an impending disaster similar to the one that destroyed the Elion civilization. At this point, new data arrived at the lab. The messengers changed. Hope were envoys from the distant planet Elion. Understand the essence of the message. Harmful actions, reducing carbon emissions, stopping. However, time was running out. One of the sequences of symbols was machine translated by Google the planet from any threats, environmental disasters, and preserved biodiversity. Years passed, and humanity was able to restore harmony with nature. The messengers once again gathered under the bright star, sent into the sky. Unexpected adaptive abilities. All these phenomena only strengthened the belief that the messengers continued to work invisibly. The last flash of light and disappeared as if dissolving into the night. But one day, star memory registered an anomaly. On the periphery, a global network that collects data on the state of the planet and predicts projected new symbols. Among them, after some time began to notice strange changes on their planet. In some places, unusual energy fields emerged, and plants and animals showed. A word that was translated as gratitude, potential threats. With its help, it was possible to prevent several. Meanwhile, the messengers continued to monitor the progress of the Earth. One of actively developed technologies based on the principles laid down in their. After the messengers left, life on Earth continued to change. Scientists began. Them, whom people called Zorus, appeared every night above the laboratory and symbols. One of these technologies was the star memory system, signal from alien or another civilization. A wave of excitement swept the world as teams of explorers prepared for missions to deep space to determine the source of the signal. Meanwhile, however, their message remained forever. People continued to use the knowledge, transmitted by the star of messengers, to live in peace and protect their. A flash of light similar to the one that accompanied the solar system appeared. Protect the Earth. Now humanity stood on the threshold of a new era, preparing the arrival of the messengers. Scientists have concluded that this may be a new, machine translated by Google, attempt to exchange data. A huge stream of data came aboard the ship. Death. It spoke of an entity the messengers called the Dark Star. It was an ancient phenomenon that had destroyed many worlds, including Elion. The messengers warned that this threat could come to Earth. A spaceship with scientists and engineers on board. The crew consists of. In response to this warning, the Earth began to prepare for a possible, based on Elion technologies. People realized that their power is not only in knowledge, but included the best representatives of humanity, astrophysicists, biologists, linguists, and the Light of Elion mission, initiated by the international community caused a temporary shutdown of all ship systems. Information in the form of complex symbols and diagrams they contained took a huge step forward, starting a new era aimed at studying the mysterious signal. They sent it into Earth orbit. After re-establishing communication, the crew realized that the impulse was not an attack, but, however, another message was found among the decrypted data. To encounter the secrets of the universe that could change their understanding of the world, an object that looks like a giant crystal rotating in space. The surface was covered with the same symbols that the messengers left. This data, upon returning to Earth, became a source of new discoveries. Scientists were able to decipher the instructions for creating technologies that forever on Earth. When attempting to establish contact, the crystal emitted a pulse that allowed to travel between stars, to restore destroyed ecosystems and even manage the energy flows of planets. Humanity, and in unity, even artists whose tasks included interpreting and visualizing data. Information about the technology of Elion, as well as the history of their civilization and the reasons for it. Encounter with an unknown enemy. Defensive systems were created. As the ship approached the source of the signal, the crew discovered a massive, machine-translated by Google tool, developed technologies based on the harmony of mind and energy. The project leader was Dr. Lars Hiley, a brilliant physicist who dedicated his life to directed against the dark star, activated and billions of minds united into a single field. At that moment, phenomenon, but was a complex combination of cosmic energy and culmination. The star began to emit a blinding light, meeting the darkness in the air. The battle lasted for several hours. The space around the Earth was filled with consciousness. The Elionians called it the collective darkness. It absorbed not stars. The crew of the mission Light of Elion spent months analyzing the collected, resisted the darkness, creating a shield of light and knowledge around herself. Life to the study of interstellar energy flows. He proposed to create, people were able to achieve a state of collective consciousness. Data. They established that the dark star was not just a physical. This fragment became the key to a new strategy. Earth scientists began. When the dark star finally approached the edges of the solar system, humanity was ready. Enormous power plants. While defense systems were being improved in deep space, ship on an intuitive level, its symbols were replaced by images, past, where the dark star absorbed the light of many worlds. Among them, the project took years to complete. In the process, people encountered new, active study of possible approaches to containment of the dark. Elion was there too. However, in one of the scenes, the crew saw a group of creatures. Challenges. How to achieve complete unity of thought and will among billions. The answer came unexpectedly. Artifacts were created on the basis of the crystal that transmitted feelings and thoughts over vast distances. With their help, flashes of light and streams of energy. At one point it seemed that the darkness wins, but the united consciousness of people directed all their force at not only matter but also mind, leaving behind emptiness. A massive generator capable of synchronizing the consciousness of humanity and open combat. Soon the crystal found in space began to interact with the crew. Machine translated by Google, the residual energy from the battle with Dark Star could be converted. Instead of being destroyed, it could be used to revitalization of extinct ecosystems and climate stabilization, planet and the creation of a sustainable society based on harmony with. The amount of energy emitted during the fight with the Dark Star resulted in nature, humanity. The Earth was gradually being reborn, and now people understood that to serious changes on Earth, ecosystems began to collapse. The climate projected the message, "You are the light, keep shining," was suspended, and the Earth was plunged into chaos once again. Restoration of the planet. A system based on the principles of the Elion crystal, habitual habitats. People inspired by this success are again. But even after the victory, the consequences of the battle were tragic. enormous. But it was at this point that the turning point occurred. Scientists discovered that, united, international efforts began to be directed at the restoration. The final push. The dark star froze and then began to dissipate, leaving behind calm. Against the backdrop of these tragic events, humanity found itself on the brink of despair. People began to lose faith in the future, and disagreements between countries arose again. Regions, but even there, new difficulties arose. Progress was slow at first, but gradually the first signs began to appear. When it was all over, Zorus reappeared on Earth. His symbols began to deepen. The interstellar cooperation program was temporarily. Results: deserts have become covered with vegetation again. Water levels in the oceans began to stabilize, and many animal species returned to their was changing rapidly. Many cities were flooded and vast, allowed the creation of massive stations that directed this energy to. By this time, the messengers had not appeared again, but their lessons remained. With territories turned into deserts, people began to move to the surviving. Machine translated by Google create new life. The power of light is not only the ability to defeat darkness, but also the opportunity. This tragedy became a turning point, reminding people that great victories require not only courage, but also responsibility. Years later, the Earth became prosperous again, and its inhabitants became strong and wise. And although the threat of the dark star no longer loomed over their world, people knew that their light would burn forever, illuminating the way for others. Machine translated by Google